want to tell you a little story about accountability. Got a friend named Tommy Parker. He lives in Montana. He's in a wheelchair and he has no legs. And he has an arm that has a toe from one of his other legs connected to his arm so he can at least pick things up. I had him come to a talk at my facility about a year and a half ago. He drove with his girlfriend all the way down from Montana. Remember, close your eyes and picture a man in a wheelchair with no legs, right? And a toe as a thumb on one of his hands. And the last thing he remembers was landing, right? When he landed and looked down, you can imagine, they say it was about 25 feet in the air when he stepped on the IED. When he hit the ground, he looked down and there was just tatters left. That's it. That's what he remembers in his head. He came out and he did a talk. When he came home, they saved his life, obviously. When he came home, they built him a house in Montana. And he started to feel sorry for himself, guilty, started using drugs. And he got into drugs really, really heavily. Got arrested about 20 times. Finally, the judge in Montana said, "That's it, Mr. Parker, I'm done with you. You go get help or you're going to prison." They gave him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Who wouldn't when you think about his story? But when he stood there, he speaks my language. He told my whole 100 people, he said, "Listen, I chose to go into the military. I chose to go into that branch. I chose to go into that infantry. I chose to go to Iraq. I took a step that blew my legs off." He said, "Until I owned my decisions, until I owned my life, I couldn't fix it." He owned every bit of it. Choosing to go into the military, choosing what branch, choosing the infantry. I took the step that, he goes, for a long time, Dave and group, I blamed Iraq, I blamed our government, I blamed blame. He was the victim. The reason why that hasn't happened to you guys is you might not have chosen to go into the military. If you did, you obviously survived. But he owned every decision in his life. So, now at the Other Side Academy, some of you may have heard of the Other Side Movers, right? We own a moving company. We have 2 large thrift boutiques, 30,000 square foot warehouses. We have a small construction company, and we now have a storage facility. Those 4 social enterprises generate all of our revenue, right? So the minute the student gets there, right, they become part of the solution, not the problem. We generate all of our own revenue. Our moving company, and I challenge you later on, look up the Other Side Movers, is the #1 rated moving company in the entire state of Utah. In 2018, we were at the Grand America Hotel. Most of you know where that's at, Salt Lake City, 5-star hotel. 1,200 people in a ballroom. We've got about 20 people represented from the Other Side Academy, and we won the Ernst & Young Entrepreneurs of the Year with a moving company ran by ex-felons and ex-drug addicts. Wrap your mind around that concept. How the hell did you win the Ernst & Young Entrepreneurs of the Year with a moving company ran by ex-felons and ex-drug addicts? You guys, my average student's been arrested 25.6 times. If you are going to start a business, a social enterprise, underneath a nonprofit umbrella to generate revenue, would you start a moving company ran by ex-felons and ex-drug addicts? Most people say no, but we have experience moving your valuables, so we knew what we were doing. Only now we actually delivered to the other side. We are the #1, look it up later, rated moving company in the entire state of Utah. Our thrift stores just won Best of State. Our social enterprises generate the revenue. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been open since 2015. I have 104 students there right now. I have 23 staff members, 19 of which are homegrown. I don't know, a couple hundred graduates, because it took a couple of years to get graduates out the pipeline. Every single one of my students, every single one, not 99%, every one, is on APP, adult parole and probation. They either write us a letter from the county jail, we interview them in jail, they come to us, and the judge sentences them there, like they did me at Delancey Street, and they're on adult parole and probation, or they walk through the front door, take a seat on the bench, we interview them, you know, like Kevin's sitting on the bench right now, we'll interview him. And if we accept him, he starts, and we find out he's got like 9 cases trailing behind him. We get him to all his court cases, and he's on adult parole and probation. Guess how many dirty drug tests we've given to AP&P over 7 years? Try 0. Our AP&P agent's name is Carl North. If you doubt what I'm telling you, I've got over 140 people on property. Not one dirty drug test through adult parole and probation with this population. Not one. Carl North, write that down. That's our probation officer. Call him and ask him. So how do we do it? Right? Isn't that amazing when you think about it? There's no other program anywhere that can tout that. It's because of the 200% accountability. So what does that mean? There's a number of things that means. But what it means is I'm 100% accountable for me, and I'm 100% accountable for Kevin. And that goes against what a lot of people feel is right. But here's the reason why it's important. At the Other Side Academy, we're a family. And if you're a mom and a dad and you've got a couple kids and little Bobby is running out the lawn and he's shooting across the street, he's about ready to run in front of the car, and big brother stops, hey, stop! Do you go say something to mom and dad that little Bobby's running across the street? You do, right? You let mom and dad know what he's doing so they can have a talk with him to save his life. At the Other Side Academy, we pass information. If I see Kevin doing something wrong, I let whoever's in charge of him know so he can get the help that he needs. And if you come to the Other Side Academy because you want to change and you're doing things that aren't healthy or not good for you, and I see you do it and I don't say anything, am I helping you or hurting you? Welcome to adulthood. Many of you are probably sitting there going, oh, no way, nope, none of my business. Okay. Stay on that path, see how your life turns out, long term. Now you're working at Clegg Auto, right? So what does that mean for you guys? The reason why we've been able to build world-renowned organizations is because of 200% accountability. It's because we call each other on our behaviors from the top to the bottom. And what we do is Tuesday nights and Friday nights we have what we call breakthrough groups. I just changed the name from games to breakthrough groups. 20 people sitting in a circle in this room, 20 people in this room, 20 people in this room, 20 people in this room, and we call each other on our behaviors. And believe me, there's 1,000 things that go on, right? You guys all work together. You know what it's like. You get under each other's skin. You can bother each other. You're coming to work late, or you're leaving the tools out. There's a million things that go on, but we call each other on our behaviors, and that's what's allowed us to build these organizations that are world-class organizations where companies are coming from all over the world to come study the model. It's because of the 200% accountability. That is why it works so well. So what does that mean for you guys? How do you implement that in your own business? How do you do it in a way that makes you feel comfortable in doing it? Well, what choice do you really have? How do you not do that? If you see somebody at your organization doing something, if it was your business, let's start there. Let's say you worked your butt off your entire life, you're 40 years old, you've saved all your money, you've started a business, and somebody's doing something wrong inside that business, would you want to know? You would want to know, right? But when it's not your business, you want to put blinders on and not say anything. Companies are beholden to one of two things. Universally, companies are beholden to one of two things. What are they? Power or truth. That's it. I don't care what you think. Companies are beholden to one of two things, power or truth. Remember Harvey Weinstein was having all those kids marched up to his room a number of years ago? Nobody said anything. How many lives were negatively affected? How many lives were destroyed? Nobody said anything. 5, 6 years ago, Wells Fargo was opening all those fictitious accounts costing the people who banked there millions and millions of dollars. Nobody said anything. Tom Brady a number of years ago, remember Deflategate? It was a cold Super Bowl and he had somebody let the air out of the football, and I'm a Tom Brady fan, right? Who knows how that game would have ended up? But that equipment manager let the air out of that football, which made his odds better. He didn't say anything. What would they be beholden to? Power. Anytime an organization is beholden to power, it will be sick. Police departments. And I'm an honorary colonel in South Salt Lake. Jack Caruth, the chief there, just bought my Harley Davidson. That's how close we are. When I say I'm an honorary colonel, I actually have a badge. I mean, imagine that, right? Spent my life in prison, have a badge. I sit on their board of directors. I get to sit in a room full of cops and discuss some of the most meaningful things that are going on in the community. He said, I want you on board. We had their entire police department come to the Other Side Academy, and we trained them on vulnerability and how to call each other on their behaviors. Because there's no organization anywhere on the planet more beholden to power than law enforcement and the military. And that's why, if you go back to the whole, what was the gentleman's name? George Floyd, right? Do you remember? We all remember when that happened, right? And there was 4 police officers standing there, and nobody pushed him off. Odds are they were all contracted up already. They all were holding each other's secrets, and secrets kill. Let me read something to you. 200% accountability. Everyone at TOSA is accountable not only for our own actions, but to watch over those around us. We need each other. Anyone who sees a problem in themselves or others owns the problem and is required to confront it and report it. Secrets kill, truth heals. All of us need to know that everyone is watching all of us all the time, ensuring that we keep the rules impeccably. The strength of our family is in everyone's commitment in keeping each other safe. Likewise, guilt kills. If we choose to allow our family to become dirty, we kill the very thing we're hoping to save. And when we sit in this room right now, what are we in essence? We're family. You spend more time awake at work than you do anywhere else. This is your extended family. There's the family we're born into, and there's the family we choose. If you're at work and there are things going on and you see them and you don't say anything, you're just as guilty as the person doing it. I don't care what you think. You're wrong. I'm right. If something's going on that's wrong and you see it and you don't say something, you're part of the problem. The reason why we've been able to do what we do with the Other Side Academy is if Kevin's doing something wrong and I see it and he eventually gets in trouble for it, and they find out that I know about it, I'm in more trouble than him. Why?
Complacency.
Say it again?
Complacency.
Right. If he's doing something wrong, I see it, I turn a blind eye, and I allow him to keep doing it, I'm part of the problem. I'm not calling it out. At the Other Side Academy, if we go back to our breakthrough groups, in those breakthrough groups, from Joseph Rennie to the executive director to our CEO, we have to go to him. Why is that important? Because if we've done something wrong, the brand new student who's been there for 1 day or 1 month or 1 year or 2 years can call us on our behaviors. The reason why we're able to do what we're doing at the Other Side Academy is from the top to the bottom, we're all held accountable by everyone. Every single person there. When was the last time you were allowed to take your boss into a room and call him or her on the carpet and have a job on Monday? I see smiles. That means you're allowed to or not allowed to?
I think we could.
I know I've yelled at her once or twice with Glenn here.
Right. And the point I'm making is you have to be able to develop and create a culture that allows accountability from the top to the bottom. And a lot of organizations talk about it, but very few do it. Very, very few actually do it. And the reason why organizations get sick is because there's no 200% accountability. It is absolutely critical to be able to do that. To have accountability feedback sessions, to be able to play the game we call the breakthrough groups, or we call it the games, to be able to play the game with each other, to know how important it is to be able to call each other on our behaviors. It doesn't matter who it is. If you see something, you say something. And if we at the Other Side Academy can actually start and manage world-class organizations where everybody is clean, where we don't have any of those things going on, why can't you?